Well, there's 4 of them that we want to have banned, these books. And one of them is Romeo and Juliet. And you know, it just shows sex among teenagers, and we're not for that, and we're not going to encourage it. Besides, it shows a rampant disrespect for parental authority. And I know it was written by William Shakespeare, and we're looking into the rest of his stuff. He wrote Barefoot in the Park, didn't he? We were very lucky that first production I did of the show, because we had a completely different set, different take on the show itself. And Jonathan had done the show, but I hadn't. So we would rehearse. We rehearsed, I think we did 3 weeks of rehearsal. And we would rehearse for maybe 2.5 hours at a time. And then we'd have to take a break because, I mean, first of all, we're laughing so dang hard. You know, you spend your time killing yourself. And then we would set stuff up and then say, okay, now I got to go home and learn this that we just did. And then come back in the afternoon and work another like 2.5 hours. And then go home and spend the night, you know, working, cramming over everything you did that morning. But so it was spread out. It was not, we didn't feel rushed to get learning it. I mean, the guys, they were very smart when they did this, that in most of the changes, there is either one long speech, or sometimes there's a long speech and then a recording of another speech, and then they also have music that kind of is your, if there's a problem, you have a little leeway there to deal with. And that's the hardest thing, is while you're doing a change and playing a scene off stage. And I said that's going to be the biggest challenge for me here to do the show, because when we did it in Oklahoma, it was a small theater. We didn't use microphones. And here, of course, we'll have mics. And I said, you know, we can't have, you know, no, the left arm. You know, you can't do that because the whole audience will be hearing what I'm doing back there. And I think the reason it has had such a long record, a long run, and somebody told me back when it first was released, it was one of the most produced shows in the country. It was like every community theater, every little nook and cranny was doing this show. But it works because it is so well crafted, and it's so true. And people, even if they don't necessarily know somebody like that totally, you know, they think they do in these big cities. I was talking to a lady the other day at our church, as a matter of fact. She said she had just been up in a place, I want to say Michigan, somewhere, and they were doing a production. And she said, oh, let's go. So she and her husband went to the show, and they were just having the best time and laughing. And said the people sitting next to them, do you mind? And it's smart, because even when somebody is being bigoted or doing something like that, there's always usually somebody else in the scene with them that can kind of take it in and comment on it. I think of Chad Hartford, the interview with Bertha Buemiller. You know, and here's Bertha talking about, you know, she's a founding member of Citizens for Fewer Blacks in Literature. And he says, oh yeah, well that explains a lot, you know, type of thing. You know, so I mean, there's always that little kind of nod to the audience, like, you know, well, this time I don't have to wear as much padding. That's one thing. And I have already, because we started our costume fittings yesterday, I've shaved my arms and I've shaved the legs for this thing. I was looking at the photos when we did the show in Oklahoma, and I didn't do anything. And it was a proscenium house, so it had a little space between the audience. But I noticed in one of the shots, my old hairy arm here, and I said, last year when I did hairspray, I decided, well, better shave this stuff off because you're close enough to the audience, they can see everything. So that's what I'm doing for this show too. This is Thurston Wheelis, and I want y'all to come on down and see Greater Tuna over to the House of Tamara, Casa Manana in Fort Worth, Texas. You better be there. See ya.